Now, having lived in the greater Seattle area here for 27 years of my life, I've really come to have a good understanding of what it's like to live in this area, whether you're in Seattle or in one of the outlying suburbs. Along with that, getting my real estate license now here almost 8 years ago and starting my YouTube channel about 3 years ago, I've helped a lot of out-of-state buyers come over here from out of state to the greater Seattle area. So I've got a really good perspective on things you should be aware of when you're coming over here, not just the common things we all know about, the bad traffic, the rainy weather, all that kind of stuff. Really, in this video, I want to go over 5 things that you may not have heard about of what it's like living over here in Seattle. So if you're planning to make the move over here, you have a good understanding of what to expect. As always, I'm Bryce Greenleaf, local real estate agent here in the Seattle area. So many of you have reached out to me here from YouTube over the years when you're looking to purchase a home. So if you're looking to relocate to the Seattle area, or you already live here and you're looking to buy a home, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to help you. Now today is a great day for point number 1 here. It's middle of August, it's 90 degrees today. Now, it's not gonna get above 90 degrees all that often around here. This is really the first stretch. We've got about 3-4 days in a row here where it is gonna get above 90 degrees. Earlier in the year, we had maybe one other time where it got above 90 degrees for a couple of days, so it's not a huge issue. But the point here is most homes in the Seattle metropolitan area are actually not air conditioned. You can see the stat here, it's actually less than 50% of homes in Seattle Metro does not have AC. Now that number is improving every year. There's a lot of people that are going into their homes, they're buying resale older homes that are 10, 15, 50 years old, just like I did, and putting AC in the home themselves. But when I was a kid growing up, this wasn't that much of an issue. We ran our fans when it got a little hot, but it didn't seem to be much of an issue growing up here. As the years have gone on, it seems to have gotten hotter and hotter, and it's becoming more of an issue where you can be pretty miserable for a few day stretches at a time living here without air conditioning. So keep that in mind. If you're moving over here, there's a good chance the home that you buy or the homes that you're looking at or apartments or condos may not have air conditioning. So you may get one that does, but you may also have to budget that in if that's something that's really important to you to make sure you stay air conditioned through the summer here. You might need to budget something like that in. Now you can get a window unit, a portable unit, which are pretty affordable, a few $100 to help you out. Or if you do a whole house system, there's a couple of different options. Personally, I did a mini split ductless system on my house because it's an older home, had baseboard heating before, so there wasn't ductwork in my home, and this is a great alternative and something they're even using on new construction homes these days. Otherwise, if you already have forced air in your house, you already have ductwork running through your home, you can plug in an AC unit or heat pump right through that as well. So there are options. You can certainly have AC, but just be aware when you come over here, a lot of the homes will not. Now, one of the really cool things about being in the Seattle metropolitan area is the lack of uniformity. Now, I've had clients come from out of state tell me how where they came from, their neighborhoods all looked the same, all the homes were newer within the last 20 years, and it was really kind of stale versus here we have a lot of character. You've got a lot of cities just like Seattle that are more established and have homes and neighborhoods that were built up in the late 1800s, early 1900s. You can see the homes behind me and all the character that they have. So that's one thing that really draws people into some of these cities like Seattle or some of the other surrounding cities that have these older areas is how much character these homes really do have. You can go in, you can find one of these homes that's got all the character but has been brought up to modern code, or you can find one that's really old and ready for you to put your love and passion and kind of vision into. So there's a lot to offer when it comes to the older style real estate, not just in Seattle, but cities like Edmonds and Mukilteo. Really, when you're on the west side of Seattle metropolitan is where you're gonna find most common those older neighborhoods. Now, there's certainly some neighborhoods like that on the east side of Seattle metropolitan. All over the place, there is no shortage of those older neighborhoods with just so much character. Now, outside of the old craftsman, colonial, and cottage style homes all over the Seattle metropolitan area, We also have a lot of brand new construction. So if you're coming over here, you're saying, hey, I can appreciate that old architecture, but I really just want a brand new home, there are a lot of options around here as well. From your master plan communities or just any new build communities in general, they are sprouting up all over the place. No matter where you are on the far north side, far south side, east, west, anywhere in Seattle Metro, you've got neighborhoods popping up all over the place, whether it's single family homes or townhomes for a more affordable option. Outside of that, with new construction, you also have a lot of one-off builds. So if you're looking for something that's maybe a more luxury home, you want to be in that east side, that Bellevue, Redmond area, Kirkland, and you want a luxury kind of larger home, there are a lot of those going in as well. Now, outside of new construction and the old 100-year-old homes, we've got a lot right in the middle. In the 50s and 60s, they were building a lot of ramblers, what we call ramblers, what you may know as a ranch style or single level home here in the Seattle metro area. As you got into the 70s and 80s, there was a lot of split levels going up all over the place. And then in the 90s and early 2000s and current still, there's a lot of multi-levels, 2 stories, basement homes. There's a lot of different styles and types of homes all throughout Seattle metropolitan, and they're not just within one city. Every city is going to have multiple different options for all these types of homes. So you can be in the area that you want to be in and then focus on the type of home that you're looking for. So just so you know, real estate, there's no shortage of different types of options that you'll be able to find over here. All right, well, the next point here is actually on the public transportation, because it's a little bit better than people make it out to be. There's a lot of people that move to Seattle and they are reliant on taking public transportation, whether they live right in Seattle proper or one of the other cities that have really walkable areas, and they're really reliant on this. So right here, I'm at the light rail station, one of the light rail stations. You can see here, this is our train system that they've dumped a lot of money into over the years. Currently, I'm at the farthest north station here, which is in Northgate. It'll take you all the way down through Seattle, down to the airport. They are expanding this rail line. It is going to go further up north. It's going to hit Mount Lake Terrace and Linwood next. Eventually, it should go up to Everett. On the east side, they're putting in stations for Bellevue and Redmond currently as well. So that'll really help all the people that are living on the east side of Seattle Metro to be able to get over there across Lake Washington. Now, outside of the light rail, if you live in Seattle proper, there are other options as well. They have streetcars down there, so maybe you're living or working in South Lake Union, living in one of the other Seattle neighborhoods, and you can take advantage of streetcars. There's city buses everywhere, of course, as well, not just in Seattle proper, but all over the place. You've got bike lanes. It's very biker friendly around here as well, especially right in Seattle. So there are a number of options for public transportation, and really over here, they've been trying to improve that. They've been putting a lot of money into it. Certainly been a lot of delays, specifically with this light rail system. But it is helping. You know, we go down, I live up north. If I want to go to a game of some sort, a Seahawks or football, soccer, hockey game, something, I will come park at this light rail station and take it the rest of the way down. It is such a time saver, saves a lot of money not having to pay for parking downtown, so it is a nice benefit. Now, one of the other great things about being in this area, and something you need to know that's probably more well known than just about everything else on this list though, is all of the outdoor recreation here in the greater Seattle area. So right now, I'm at Green Lake Park. This is on the north side of Seattle. One of the more popular places for people to go on nice sunny days. You have the lake here where you can go swimming, put your paddleboard, kayak out there. They have a loop all the way around the lake for people that like to run and jog and ride their bike, take their dog for a walk, a rollerblade, all that kind of stuff. Outside of just Green Lake here, there's dozens of lakes in the Seattle metropolitan area. No matter how far north, south, or east that you go, there's lakes all over the place. So if you want to go boating or just take your kids somewhere to swim, regardless of where you end up, whether you're in Seattle proper or you're one of the outlying suburbs, you are going to have somewhere close by that you can take your kids to go swimming, or you can go swimming yourself, or like I said, launch your kayak or your paddleboard. Now, outside of lakes, of course, we are right on the water. We're right on the Puget Sound, so absolutely breathtaking, gorgeous views of the Puget Sound. So all throughout the western side of the Seattle metropolitan area, whether you're in Seattle or you're in Edmonds or Mukilteo or even further north, there is access to the Puget Sound and all of those gorgeous beaches. I actually proposed to my wife on one of these beaches, so it holds a close memory to us. But outside of just hanging out on the beach, you can take the ferry over to one of the islands to enjoy a day over there. You can go kayaking over there all throughout the place. We can, we rented paddle boards one time on the Puget Sound, so there's a lot you can do. Jump on a ferry. It's really, really gorgeous. And the last thing we'll talk about here is the Cascade Mountain Ranges. So we've got the Puget Sound on the west side of us. On the east side of us, we have the Cascade Mountain Range. So if you enjoy skiing or snowboarding, snowshoeing, mountain biking, hiking, any of those outdoor recreation activities, it is close by. Again, regardless of where in the Seattle metropolitan you're at, you're gonna have access to one of the ski snowboarding resorts within an hour or less for the most part, sometimes an hour and a half when traffic's really bad on those holiday weekends. But there's multiple different locations depending where in Seattle Metro you are, multiple different ski and snowboard resorts that you can go to in a relatively quick drive.
Now, the last thing you should know about is the education in the Seattle metropolitan and in Washington state in general. A lot of people come over here, and part of the reason they move is because of the educational opportunities, specifically in the Seattle metropolitan area. U.S. News recently ranked Washington as the number 10 best state overall for education and the number 2 best state in the U.S. for higher education. Another recent report by WalletHub ranked the Seattle metropolitan area as the number 9 best metro area in the U.S. for public education. Now you can see here on Niche, some of the top school districts are really located on the east side of Seattle. You have Bellevue School District, Lake Washington School District, Mercer Island, North Shore School District, Issaquah. These are really the highest rated districts in Washington state, and they're really all grouped right along that east side corridor, which is why we see so many people that move over here are prioritizing living in that area. Outside of public schools, there's a lot of private schools around here as well, not just in the east side corridor, but all over the Seattle metro area. So if private school is something that's important for you and to put your kids in, there are a lot of options around here. And lastly, the higher education, there's a lot of universities in this area and a lot of highly accredited universities like the University of Washington. We also have Seattle University, Seattle Pacific University, and many other schools in this area as well. So whether you have kids in kindergarten or you've got a college student, there's a lot of great educational opportunities here in the Seattle area. Well, this wraps up my list. These are the 5 things that you should know about before you move over here. Of course, there are the other things, like I mentioned, that everybody knows about, like the traffic, like the gray weather, but there's really a lot that makes up the Seattle metro area and a lot of reasons why people are moving up here more and more, especially as the southern part of the U.S. seemingly seems to get hotter and hotter every year. And to me, it seems unbearable when you have over 100 degrees days and days in a row. You don't get that up here in Seattle, and there's a lot of pleasant things about living in this area. So like I said, if you're moving over here or you already live here and you're looking to purchase a home in this area, feel free to reach out to me. I am an active real estate agent in the area and would be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching this one.